ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, so we are going to continue from where we stopped yes, last class. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, chapter 15, verse 16. Santushtasya nidihasya स्वात्मा रामस्य यत्सुखम् कुतस्तत् कामलोभेन धावतोऽर्थे थे हयादिशः. One who is content and satisfied and who links his activities with the Supreme Personality of Godhead residing in everyone's heart enjoys transcendental happiness without endeavoring for his livelihood. Where is such happiness for a materialistic man who is impelled by lust and greed and who therefore wanders in all directions with a desire to accumulate wealth? So one has to be content and satisfied. A devotee has to be content and satisfied and should link all his activities with the Supreme Lord. So I'm repeating. One should be content, satisfied, and link all their activities with the Supreme Lord. And then such a person enjoys transcendental happiness without endeavoring for his livelihood also. Which is why in Varnashrama system, the brahmacharis and sannyasis they have this opportunity. Grihasthas have to endeavor for their livelihood. Vanaprasthas also, anyway, Kaliyuga Vanaprasthas, they will have some savings of their own. So in some sense, they worked for it. But brahmacharis and sannyasis, they can actually enjoy this transcendental happiness without endeavoring for livelihood. And very exalted grihasthas who are really not worried about their existence, they can also enjoy transcendental happiness without endeavoring for livelihood. But the key here is that one has to be content and satisfied with whatever is given. Whatever comes our way is Krishna's mercy. But this is where our problem is. As devotees, we are not content, we are not satisfied. We are always looking for something else which we don't have. That we have bhakti that we don't see. Leaving that, we look for everything else. So, this verse is saying, where is such happiness for a materialistic man who is impelled by lust and greed and running, get this, get that, accomplish this, accomplish that, busy. Where can such a person enjoy transcendental happiness? What is this materialistic man doing? Wanders in all directions with a direct desire to accumulate wealth. That's all. Money. Prabhupada elsewhere writes, money is honey. So we have to be just content. As grihasthas also, one has to be content, satisfied. Other ashramas also, they have to be content and satisfied with whatever has been given. The secret for making spiritual progress, irrespective of what ashrama we are in, is contentment and being satisfied. We know that actually, Vamanadev showed this, right? Bali Maharaj, so he comes and asks, okay, give me just 3 steps. Land that can cover 3 steps. So Bali Maharaj says, what is this? You're such a small boy. And then how much land will get covered by your 3 steps? Then actually Vamandev, who has come as a Vatu Brahmana, he says that if I'm not satisfied with these 3 steps, I will not be satisfied with all the 3 worlds. Also, I won't be satisfied. And I was wondering, saying that what is the comparison between 3 steps and all the 3 worlds? Basically, is about whatever is comes to us, we have to be just satisfied. That's the whole point, right? And Amandev, of course, he was showing that there is no need to be greedy to achieve more. Mm. So we should just be content and satisfied and use our energy in Krishna consciousness. Mm. Then our energy doesn't get wasted. No, it's very, very important. We should not waste Krishna's energy. It's Krishna's energy. Especially for those who are initiated, their body is the property of the Guru. So we should try to keep the body in good condition so that it can be completely, fully, properly utilized in the service of Guru and Krishna. Mm. So contentment is very, very important. Sada santushta manasa sarva shivamaya dishaha sharkara kantakadibhyo yatopanatpada shivam. For a person who has suitable shoes on his feet, there is no danger even when he walks on pebbles and thorns. For him, everything is auspicious. Similarly, for one who is always self satisfied, there is no distress. Indeed, he feels happiness everywhere. Mm. It's so clear. And sometimes, when we read things like this, what should come to our mind? Saying that, it will be such a nice thing to be like this. And for a moment, we should just visualize ourselves. In today's life will be like cribbing, moods up, down, this, that, and all that. And we can think, saying that, see, if I can just be self-satisfied, then there's no distress at all. Mm. Meaning, even if there is some distress, we'll be satisfied with that also. Saying, okay, this is Krishna's mercy. So, yeah, such a person feels happiness everywhere, anywhere, in any situation. Mm. And to be able to be satisfied, one has to be tolerant. If you're not tolerant, if you're intolerant, generally there is less satisfaction with anything. So which is why the mode of goodness is important. One has to develop mode of goodness. And we have to practice things such that we can remain in mode of goodness. Like saying, somebody, we all know different things that we do which push us into the mode of passion. It could be driving fast, it could be rushing against time. Many people have, Matajis especially, they have to prepare, whatever lunch box, this, that, and all that, and they're running against time. And then if they become Rajasic, then that'll result in intolerance, then lack of satisfaction, contentment, everything. So what we should do? So if we know that, okay, 10 minutes earlier, can I, instead of doing at, assume say if I start work at 8 o'clock, I'll be rushed. So can I start work at 7:50? Right, like that. So it's important for us to remain in the mode of goodness. If we remain in the mode of goodness, then we'll be self-satisfied, we'll be tolerant, we'll be self-satisfied, and we will feel happiness everywhere. संतुष्टकेन वा राजन्न वर्तेतापि वारिणा औपस्त्य जैफ्य कार्पण्याद् गृह पालायते जनः. My dear king, a self-satisfied person can be happy even with only drinking water. However, one who is driven by the senses, especially by the tongue and genitals, must accept the position of a household dog to satisfy his senses. Okay, Prabhupada is writing a purport. 3 verses he's written on purport. According to the Shastras, a Brahmana or a cultured person in Krishna consciousness will not enter anyone's service to maintain body and soul together. He will not enter anyone's service means what? He doesn't take the position of a Shudra, meaning stretching your hand to get salary. That is entering into service. So he doesn't work for anyone, basically. Brahmana doesn't work for anyone. Which is why uh, those who are working, taking salary, etc., they are not ideal Brahmanas. Brahmana should not take money from others. Of course, Brahmana can beg. That is okay. But not again. Grihastha Brahmana, he should become qualified. Patan, Patan, Yajan, Yadan, like that. And read Shastra, teach Shastra, do Yagna, then learn Yagna, do Yagna, etc. So he will not enter anyone's service, and especially not for the satisfaction of senses. Okay, some emergency situations, Brahmana can do the vritti of a Vaishya, like that, but never a Shudra. A true Brahmana is always satisfied. Even if he has nothing to eat, he can drink a little water and be satisfied. See, so one single statement, one simple statement like this, right? Even if he has nothing to eat, he can drink a little water and be satisfied. It's so difficult. So Prabhupada is saying it is difficult, but it's only a matter of practice. One has to practice. Everything in Krishna consciousness is a matter of practice. Unfortunately, however, no one is educated in how to be satisfied in self-realization. So this is the important thing. Most people don't have the knowledge. Most people think, okay, if I don't have anything to eat, then I will strive hard to get something to eat. But no, for a Brahmana, if he has nothing to eat, he should just drink water and chill, relax, be satisfied. But one has to be educated on this path, on how to be satisfied in self-realization. As explained above, a devotee is always satisfied. Why? Because he feels the presence of the super soul within the heart. And of course, for devotees, they feel the presence of their Ishtadeva, Radha, Krishna. So they are always satisfied. Why only satisfied? They're also happy. And a devotee thinks of him 24 hours a day. Prabhupada makes statements like this, just like that. A devotee thinks about the Lord 24 hours a day. That's all. Whole life we can be trying to do this. But then we should not forget, oh, no, it's okay. We are just doing 2 hours, 4 hours devotion. That's enough. Where is it enough? Prabhupada is saying 24 hours. Now, suddenly we decided saying that out of 24 hours, I'll do only 4 hours. That is our speculation. And that is real satisfaction. So when we do like this, when we work wholeheartedly, all the time for Krishna's pleasure, Guru's pleasure, that is real satisfaction. A devotee is never driven by the dictations of the tongue and genitals. And thus he is never victimized by the laws of material nature. See, this is very important. Tongue and genitals. So we have to be very, very careful. Again, this is for all ashramas. Some people think that, this is only for Grihastha ashrama or this is for only Brahmacharya ashrama. No. This is for all ashramas that one should never be driven by dictations of tongue. Now, when people come into Krishna consciousness, initially we feed them a lot of prasadam. Because they need some higher taste and they are leaving out all those things from their, life, and they need some higher taste. So the higher taste is food for most people. So we feed, saying that eat as much, like we force people also. But then as we make progress in Krishna consciousness, yukta ahara viharasya yukta chestasya karmasu. So yukta, we have to only do as much as is required, not more. And we should practice this. Suppose say your tongue is pushing you, saying that I want this, I want that, and then you should go against it. You just say, no, I'm not giving this. Especially if you think you're going to get attached to it. For many years, my tongue was tied up. So now it has become little free. So it will start jumping up and down. Then I say, okay, I want to eat fried stuff. Then I say, okay, no, at least 1 day, 2 days, no. So like that, we have to practice. It's very difficult. I've seen devotees have to eat the same food every day. They're like, Prabhu, same khichdi every day. Mm. So we are still driven by the dictations of the tongue. Now, when will we stop being driven by the dictations of tongue? When we experience higher taste, which is not just connected to prasadam. We have to experience higher taste. And of course, for grihasthas, when they experience higher taste, they are also not driven by their sex urge, also will be controlled. Um, so the whole point is to engage, immerse ourselves in the practice of Krishna consciousness. Then these things which are generally difficult to tolerate, then we can tolerate. Actually, this nectar of instruction, um, very interesting. I was reading somewhere that the first two verses, first two verses. 1 second. It's a very nice. Yeah, no. For 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, first four verses are. First verse is about prerequisites, expectations, which is vacho vegam, manasa krodha vegam, which is tolerating the urges to speak, minds, demands, actions of anger, tongue, belly, genitals. So that is the first verse. That is the beginning of nectar of instruction. Then next two verses are what six things are not favorable, and the third verse is what six things are favorable. The fourth verse is about relationship between devotees. Right. Fifth verse is about how we should respect devotees. Then, so this is 5 verses. Sixth verse is about position of a pure devotee. What is the position of a pure devotee? Then seventh is about Krishna, about the holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna. Seventh verse. Eighth verse is this. Essence of all advice is that one should utilize one's full time, 24 hours a day, in nicely chanting and remembering the Lord's divine name, transcendental form, qualities, and eternal pastimes. Therefore, gradually engaging one's tongue and mind. In this way, one should reside in Vraja. So, in 7 verses, 5 verses of general practice, 2 verses glorifying a pure devotee and Krishna's transcendental, holy name, character, etc. 8th verse says, chant all the time, and this is the verse for Raganuga Bhakti, right? One should reside in Vraja and serve Krishna under the guidance of devotees. So this is talking about Raganuga Bhakti. So by saying this is the beginning of this whole process to go up to there is actually this Vacho Vegam, Manasa Krodha Vegam, Jibha Vegam, Udara Upastha Vegam. All these 6 urges have to be controlled. And for that, the only option is higher taste in the association of devotees who have got that higher taste. Only then we can protect ourselves from becoming victimized. This is becoming victimized by the laws of nature. Victim means like we came under the influence of something not good. Right? He became victim of alcohol. Right? So like that. So we come under the control of some not so favorable energy, which is the material nature, and which mainly drives tongue and genitals in this material world. So which is why if one only consumes prasadam, not thinking about it as food, which is why we say honor prasadam, so that we remember that we are actually getting Krishna's mercy. If we actually consume Krishna's mercy on a daily basis, right? And then it is very powerful in helping us maintain our consciousness. Mm. It's very, very important, which is why, just we have to be mindful about our devotion. Mindful means whatever devotion we are doing, we should put our mind into it. We should not do it mechanically. We should not do it like as a matter of, okay, I need to do this, I'll do it. When we do things like that, what happens is our mind is still attracted to material things, and then there's a very high chance of us getting driven by these, tongue and genitals. So higher taste. And definitely Grihastha should not give themselves license for this. You know. Anyway, genitals we've already spoken multiple times that it is only for procreation, not for sense gratification. If somebody wants to do procreate, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said you can have hundreds of children if you want. But you should, if you have the ability to take care of so many people, then yeah, produce so much children. Otherwise, no need. Otherwise, simply just brahmacharya only, practically, one should be. असन्तुष्टस्य विप्रस्य तेजो विद्या तपो यशः स्रवन्तीन्द्रियलौल्येन ज्ञानं चैवावकीर्यते. Because of greed for the sake of the senses, the spiritual strength, please note this, spiritual strength, education, austerity, reputation of a devotee or brahmana who is not self-satisfied, all these dwindle. So we lose spiritual strength if we do things which because of greed for the sake of senses. We lose spiritual strength. We lose education also because whatever knowledge we got now became useless. And all austerities that we have done. And of course, eventually reputation, if somebody is a reputed devotee and then he falls down because of the urge of the senses. So we have to be very, very careful, protect ourselves. And his knowledge gradually vanishes. So if he continues to act to be greedy, Brahmana or a Vaishnava, we lose his knowledge, finally we lose his bhakti. So we should not be greedy on the material platform. The only way to protect ourselves from this is to become greedy on the spiritual platform. Laulyam ekam maulyam, right? The only value is spiritual greed, which can protect us. Otherwise, our propensity to want more will go on the material platform, and then we will become dissatisfied and then fall down. It's important to note every time we engage in some activity of sense gratification which is against Vedic principles or not allowed for devotees, we are losing spiritual strength. And the more we are doing it, the more we lose spiritual strength. And which means that, so what is the spiritual strength? When we came into Krishna consciousness, we had zero spiritual strength. Now, by the practice of Krishna consciousness, chanting, hearing, seva, kirtan, yatra, etc., what happens? We got spiritual strength now. It starts building up with devotional activities, and it starts depleting, or we start losing it by material activities, by sense gratification. Very, very important. Such powerful verses. Every verse in Bhagavatam seems important. कामस्यान्तं हि क्षुत् त्रिभ्यां क्रोधस्यैतत् फलोदयात् जनो याति न लोभस्य जित्वा भुक्त्वादिशो भुवः. The strong bodily desires and needs of a person disturbed by hunger and thirst are certainly satisfied when he eats. Somebody is very hungry and thirsty. He will have strong bodily desires and needs. So as soon as he eats, his hunger and thirst is become satisfied. Similarly, if one becomes very angry, that anger is satisfied by chastisement. and its reaction. But as for greed, even if a greedy person has conquered all the directions of the world or has enjoyed everything in the world, still he will not be satisfied. So it's saying kama, krodha, tatha, lobhas. Etat trayam, what is that? What is the verse? त्रिविधम नरकस्येदं दारम नाशनम आत्मनः काम क्रोध तथा लोभस तस्माद् एतत् त्रयं त्यजेत्. So kama, krodha, lobha, these are gateways to hell. Kama, lust, krodha, anger, and lobha, which is greed. So in this verse, it's saying somehow anger can be satisfied. Okay, you become angry at somebody, you shout at somebody, and by that action you will be satisfied and your anger will subside. But greed will never be satisfied. Even if he has conquered all the directions of the world or has enjoyed everything in the world. See, just look at this. Today people are behaving like they have not experienced the world, etc. And, they are gone one after another to try and experience the world. But they've already enjoyed everything in the world because we've been in this material world for, time immemorial. But why are we still not satisfied? Because we are still greedy. We're still greedy. So if we are greedy, we will never experience happiness, satisfaction with whatever we have. We will never experience. We always want more, more, more. In Bhagavad Gita 3.37, it is stated that lust, anger, and greed are the causes of conditioned soul's bondage. In this material world, kama, esha, krodha, esha, rajo, guna, samudbhava. When strong lusty desires for sense gratification are unfulfilled, one becomes angry. This anger can be satisfied when one chastises his enemy. Says, because of you, I didn't get my sense gratification. Okay, anger satisfied. But when there is an increase in lobha or greed, which is the greatest enemy caused by rajoguna, the mode of passion, how can one advance in Krishna consciousness? So greed, lust, all this is mainly mode of course, greed is definitely mode of passion. Material desires, it can also be in the mode of goodness, but it will be good desires, as in acceptable desires. But in mode of passion, ignorance, passion also actually it is not, they just want heavenly pleasure. But Kali Yuga, everybody is Shudra Sambhavaha. So Shudras means vikarma, illegal. Nothing permitted. All paths of happiness are not permitted. And then they want more and more, so driven by mode of passion, mode of ignorance. So how can one advance in Krishna consciousness? So it's very important that we have to be satisfied. We have to be satisfied. If one is very greedy to enhance his Krishna consciousness, this is a great boon. Tatra laulyam ekalam moolam. Tatra laulyam ekalam moolam. So that is what Rupa Goswami says. To get, we have to get that greed to go on to the path of Raganuga. We have to get greed. And that is the only means. So come what may, somehow one has to become greedy to enhance, to progress in Krishna consciousness. This is very, very important. So, and this greed comes only by hearing. Regular hearing from Srila Prabhupada will ensure that we come to the stage of experiencing greed. Pandita bahavo rajan bahugna samshaya chidaha sadasaspatayopyeke asantoshat patantyadaha. O King Yudhishthir, many persons with varied experience, many legal advisors, Samshaya Chidaha, expert in legal advice, okay. Many learned scholars and many persons eligible to become presidents of learned assemblies fall down into hellish life because of not being satisfied with their positions. All big people, they fall down into hellish life because they're not satisfied. For spiritual advancement, one should be materially satisfied. Or if one is not materially satisfied, his greed for material development will result in frustration of his spiritual advancement. Reading it again. For if one is not materially satisfied, his greed for material development will result in the frustration of his spiritual advancement, which means that he cannot make spiritual progress. There are two things that nullify all good qualities. One is poverty. Daridra dosho gunarashi nashi. If one is poverty stricken, all his good qualities become null and void. Similarly, if one becomes too greedy, his good qualifications are lost. Therefore, the adjustment is that one should not be poverty stricken, but one must try to be fully satisfied with the bare necessities of life and not be greedy. For a devotee to be satisfied with the bare necessities is therefore the best advice for spiritual advancement. So, like I was saying, so we have to come to simple living. So, all grahasthas should do an exercise. Go open all the attics, all the attas, remove whatever is there and throw what is not required. Then open your wardrobes, take out anything that you have not touched for more than 1 month and throw it away. You're not going to miss anything. And then be satisfied with whatever is there. Simple living is important. Learned authorities in devotional life consequently advise that one not endeavor to increase the number of temples and mathas. Such activities can be undertaken only by devotees experienced in propagating the Krishna consciousness movement. It's not like it's forbidden, but temples and all that are only for devotees who want to propagate Krishna consciousness. All the acharyas in South India, especially Sri Ramanujacharya, constructed many big temples. And in North India, all the Goswamis of Vrindavan constructed large temples. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur also constructed large centers known as Gaudiya Mathas. Therefore, temple construction is not bad, provided proper care is taken for the propagation of Krishna consciousness. Even if such endeavors are considered greedy, the greed is to satisfy Krishna, and therefore these are spiritual activities. So anything on the spiritual platform, any desire, lust, greed, meaning not lust, but any kind of excessive desires on the spiritual platform for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna, for our own spiritual progress, etc., are absolutely allowed. Absolutely allowed. And only when we, like I am saying, only when we develop such desires, then there won't be space for material desires in our heart. Isn't it? So, greed, become greedy to satisfy Guru and Krishna. असंकल्पा जयेत कामम क्रोधम काम विवर्जनात् अर्थानर्थे क्षया लोभम भयम तत्वापमर्शनात्. Very important verse this is. How do we overcome some of the bad qualities that we have? By making plans with determination. One should give up lusty desires for sense gratification. No, it's very important to understand this verse. Now, sometimes, people want to achieve this, buy that. Now, what we should do? We should make plans with determination not to buy it. But there must be plans with the determination. We just not that succumb to some lusty desire for sense gratification. We should make plans with determination to avoid. For example, you know that, okay, if I go on this street, I will look at this shop and I will want to buy. Avoid that street. If I talk to this person, then it will result in this kind of a feeling which is not good for me. Avoid that person. So with the determination, we have to make plans, which is going to be against fulfilling those lusty desires. Similarly, by giving up envy, one should conquer anger. Very, very important. These are secrets actually of our, how human beings function. If somebody is angry, it is basically because we are envious of something or somebody. Envious means what? I wanted to get this, I didn't get this. Or they didn't listen to what I said, so I'm angry. Which is again false ego. Which is again envious, being envy. So if we are angry, that means we are envious. Very, very deep. This is very important. By discussing disadvantages of accumulating wealth, one should give up greed. Somebody is very, very greedy to accumulate wealth. What? We should discuss disadvantages of accumulating wealth. What are the disadvantages? One is in this life only, they will have so much of challenges, right? Income tax, then this person will come behind. And they worry who will steal the money, etc. That is one. Second, which is more karmic, is if in case the person is engaged in not real pious activities for which is natural in Kali Yuga, people who accumulate money cannot be engaged in pious activities. So which means that it is karmic and then they're going to suffer for that. So these are disadvantages of accumulating wealth. So why should one do it? It's crazy. And if somebody is afraid of something, fear can be given up by discussing the truth. Very important. Please remember this. One should give up lusty desires by making plans with determination. One should give up anger by giving up envy. Or one should conquer anger by giving up envy. One should give up greed by discussing disadvantages of accumulating wealth. One should give up fear by discussing the truth. But what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has suggested, how can one conquer lusty desires for sense gratification? One cannot give up thinking of women, for thinking in this way is natural. Even while walking on the street, one will see so many women. However, if one is determined not to live with a woman. So this is the plan with determination. Very, very perfect example. If one is determined not to live with a woman, even while seeing a woman, he will not become lusty. Virasta, or brahmachari advice. If one is determined not to live with a woman, so one has to become determined. If he is a brahmachari, he has to become determined. No, I'm not going to live with any woman. Then, even if by chance that person sees a woman, it's okay. Not affected. If one is determined not to have sex, he can automatically conquer lusty desires. Again, this is determination. Determination not to live with women, determination not to have sex. The example given in this regard is that even if one is hungry, if on a particular day he is determined to observe fasting, he can naturally conquer the disturbances of hunger and thirst. If one is determined not to be envious of anyone, he can naturally conquer anger. Similarly, one can give up the desire to accumulate wealth simply by considering how difficult it is to protect the money in one's possession. If one keeps a large amount of cash with him, he is always anxious about keeping it properly. Thus, if one discusses the disadvantages of accumulating wealth, he can naturally give up business without difficulty. Okay, so very, very important. So those who are driven by lusty desires for sense gratification, make plans with determination to keep away from those. Those who are angry, make plans with determination to not be envious of anyone. Those who are greedy, make plans by discussing about the disadvantages of accumulate wealth, make plans not to get drawn into accumulating money. And one who is fearful can give up that fear by discussing the truth. Okay, so I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, comments. Okay, anybody? Any questions, comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Yeah.
Pranam.
Pranam,
So,
Prabhu.
Prabhu, that statement of so the anger can be subdued by chastisement of
Enemy.
its reaction, enemy, and its reaction. What is it? Its reaction. What does that mean,
No,
Prabhu?
like basically, see, one is when there are two ways we can understand. One is when you are angry, you become angry at somebody. and
Hmm.
and because of your angry somebody cries, right?
Yes,
Then your
because
anger becomes satisfied.
you
You
start
see,
shouting,
ah,
shouting.
start shouting, then somebody cries, then you are like
Yes.
satisfied, saying, okay, yes, I achieved my purpose. The other thing is about the reaction one gets by doing this, by
Ah,
becoming
okay,
angry, right? So
okay.
contemplating
Mhm.
these things, one can give up anger.
Yeah, because the reaction is more dis, I mean, devastating than,
Yeah, yeah,
than the
it's
actual
devastating.
chastisement.
It is
Okay.
devastating for the receiver. It is satisfying for the giver. And
Because the
that's
receiver
what
will
anger.
give it back after the.
Yeah, which we are not worried. No,
Yes,
when we are giving, we are not worried about taking it back. We're just
yes,
happy
yes.
giving it at that point of time.
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
Okay, bro.
okay, yeah, okay. Anything else? Yeah, Prashant, Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Through this Hare Krishna, this determination, right, to basically for controlling anger, greed, lust. So this determination is there, but sometimes even after the determination, the fall down happens, right?
Even
Like
after
this
the
comes,
determination fall
and
down
then
happens.
again
Okay,
and then we repent, and then we get more determined, and then again it happens. So
correct.
is it like the strength has to come chanting
Yeah,
and
yeah, 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 yeah. Correct.
also basically the
Yes.
continuity, because it will not happen so immediately, right?
No, it won't happen immediately because this is lifetimes of whatever bad habits. So they are there in our heart and they can come up anytime. Which is why we have to be worried. Prabhupada always said we have to be afraid of Maya. Of Maya means what? Basically, material propensities which are there in our heart. We are not blaming Durga Devi for our nonsense. So, but when it is in the heart, it can pop up at any time. So when it pops up, unexpected, expected, whatever, we don't have the strength to overcome it. We can, till it pops up, we can do everything to protect ourselves. When it pops up, it becomes difficult. So, which is why purification, the chanting, hearing, reading, all the devotional activities work on the root level, right? Purifying the nonsense in the heart so that the pop up itself has to stop. Because once, you see, even in the case of Jadabharat, Bhagavatam says that when Rahugana actually spoke ulta palta, right? He was disrespectful. Actually, Bhagavatam says there were waves in the heart of Jadabharat, but he didn't respond. So even for somebody who's like reached that stage of bhakti, there could be waves or you can feel something not good, etc. But they will have the spiritual strength to control it, to not react to it. Hmm. So till we become 100% pure, which happens only at the stage of prema. Till prema, there is anarthas keep on. Even at the stage of bhava, it can come back like it happened in the case of Bharat Maharaj. So even in the stage of bhava, all anarthas are not irreversibly gone. Only at the stage of prema, they're irreversibly gone, which means that we can still experience this kind of nonsense even at that such an exalted stage of devotion. So, but even if they come, we will have spiritual strength to push it away, to not give it attention. Mm. That is the reason why when things are good, do as much sadhana as possible. Because when things go bad, that sadhana will come in handy because that spiritual, you would have built some spiritual strength in the interim. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, anything else?
Yes, Rohit. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for joining. So we'll close here. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. पञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द की जय समवेत गौरभक्तवृन्द की जय हरे कृष्णा
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
हरे
Pranam to
कृष्णा
everybody.
प्रणाम माता जी
Prabhuji, can I share Guru Maharaj's
Prabhu.
this thing when talking about anger?
Yeah, please.
Prabhu, like there was a couple who came to visit Guru Maharaj, and like I usually never get into his room, and when he like was talking with devotees, the only thing I could hear was the couple, like literally shouting
Oh my God.
and like and I did not hear anything of, like I could not hear Guru Maharaj's this thing, but I could hear loud voices of the couple talking. And this went on for about 10-15 minutes. And ultimately, I mean, whatever happened in the room, I mean, was. Then after 5 minutes, I get a message. It says, Mataji, make sure that they do not go without prasadam.
Hmm.
So Prabhu, like, I mean, like if somebody behaved this with us, leave alone prasadam, we will take, this is the door, please go. And so
I on that day also said, I think everybody was there or not. When it was started Rituism in Hare Krishna, one of his disciples literally kicked in his backside of his knee.
Oh Krishna.
And myself and my son was with me, Devasima. He said, take photo, we'll file case. So we couldn't do anything. But now you see, after coming back to ISKCON, he was appointing one of big temple president. So that is forgiveness and anger, you can say.
Yeah, they're all exalted. I mean, we can at least try in at our own level, small things. At least forgiveness we can learn, I think.
Yes. We
Right?
cannot
Because
reach that level. At least whatever we can reach, we should do that one.
Yeah, forgiveness I think is one very, very amazing quality, right? If see, of course, I mean, see these great Vaishnavas, they are actually, because they are not on the bodily platform at all. When they are seeing somebody in the modes of nature, their only thought that comes to their mind is, oh, poor conditioned soul suffering, right? And their compassion will just think, okay, what is the best way of giving them mercy, right? So yeah, prasadam. So give them prasadam, give them this. So their heart is always going to help, fallen souls. Yeah, we also have to we have to learn from all these things and know that this is the direction we have to go. If you have to go back to Godhead, then we have to learn. We have to learn, follow in the footsteps of such great Vaishnavas. Thank you, Prabhu and Mataji, for sharing. It's always it gives us some more determination, some more reasons for becoming little more serious in our devotion. Thank you so much. Okay.
Prabhu, one thing about like me and Prabhu in material life, I mean, I'm talking about myself. We forgive people whom we want to forgive, like if they've done anything heinous. We forgive.
Yeah.
And certain people, even if it is, like we carry that burden throughout life. And some, especially with your, like the expectation that this person shouldn't have done, and it rubs off, and you know that the other person is not affected with it, and
Yeah.
it's rubbing you. But how you, and it's very difficult to deal with this, Prabhu. It is.
Yeah.
Forgiveness also doesn't come like you forgotten and forgiven.
Yeah, but
How do you do?
you
And we all
answered
know.
it actually. You answered it.
Yes, Prabhu, we know that
Because
we
you're
can
carrying
carry.
a burden. I
Yes,
mean,
you
the
are.
important part is that you're carrying a burden,
Yes.
and we have to
But this,
realize saying that the other person doesn't even know about it,
know about it. Yes,
right?
Prabhu.
And you are the one who's suffering, and you are carrying the
Absolutely.
burden. You are putting yourself into misery. That's not intelligence at all.
It isn't, but how do you deal with it? You know it, and still you
Become
are upset.
intelligent, saying that why am I being burdened for something which is not, I mean, it's not that the other person knows, it's not going to help in any way, and then I'm just simply going on and on, which is only affecting me and my consciousness and my happiness.
Yeah,
It's not
absolutely.
intelligent.
Yes, Prabhu, yeah, absolutely right. But and when we deal with it, when you think of that person, or you look, like even if the person happens to be near or around, I mean, the anger continues, and you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
As I said, I'm carrying it, but I'm not able to deal with it. Like
Yeah, so
I'm talking about myself very openly, Prabhu.
yeah, so
Like
Bhagavatam just said now, saying that we have to give up envy of that person. So we are becoming angry because we are envious of that person. We are not, we are forgiving those people whom we are not envious about. We are angry about those people whom we are envious about. So the point is that we have to give up envy, which is what the verse just said. So we have to give up envy of that person, then anger will automatically go.
No, is it
What?
envy or is it the hurt that? Sorry.
No, which is envy, right? See, this envy we have to understand, right? Envy is about somebody being, if somebody seems to be superior, having a upper hand, etc. That is envy. We can't tolerate it. We think that no, I have the right, I can do this to that person. That person can't do this to me. Why? Because I think that I am something, right? So which means that I am not ready to accept that position that of that person. So see all this, everything finally it is envy only, because what is envy is to try and remain masters. Is our biggest envy, right? That is envy of Krishna. And because we are trying to remain masters, all these things we seem to be like unforgivable, right? We can't just give up these things because we think we are masters, right? And in the position, just think, in the position of a servant, will a servant be bothered about all these things? I'm a servant. Master kicks me. He has the right to kick me, right? But we don't think we are servants, right? We think we are masters, and that is envy. That is being envious about Krishna. So anyway, I think, see, one thing I've realized, saying that the more and more we talk about material things which are difficult for us to overcome, it will always be a dead end. The only way to get out of it is develop attraction to Krishna, develop attraction to Guru, develop attraction to devotees, follow in their footsteps, get inspired to do more devotion, and let that process clean the heart. And when Cheto Darpana Marjanam happens, then all these things will not bother us. Which is why, again, starting with chanting. So that seminar we had, I think a lot of devotees appreciated. So we should understand, saying that unless we start our day with good chanting, all these negative things can go on and on and on forever, and we'll never have the strength to overcome them. And the secret for all success is good chanting, which is completely dependent on good reading. So there is no other way. Otherwise we can keep discussing these things and it's the same thing. It's difficult. Yes, it's difficult. Because we are materially conditioned. When we raise above that platform, only then we can think about getting out of all this. For which chanting is the key. Is that okay, Mataji? Okay. So I'll stop here.